You tell me when.
You're live.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We're going to call to order at 6:31 with a reading of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, which was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which time any business affecting their interest is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act and Board of Education Policy 0162, the Board of Education of the Borough of Bound Brook has caused notice of this meeting to be posted in the board office and at Bound Brook High School and mailed or faxed to the Courier News, Bound Brook Borough Clerk, South Bound Brook Board of Education, and any person who has requested individual notice and paid the required fee. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we do a roll call, please?
Mr. Ball?
Here.
Mr. Casio? Mr. Dawson?
Here.
Mr. Dino?
Here.
Ms. Lima? Mr. Minhas?
Here.
Ms. Musson?
Here.
Mr. Samano? Mr. Zupko?
Here.
Mr. Jennings?
Here.
Mr. Quorum?
Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm going to keep my comments brief tonight. Just thank everybody for coming. Hope you're all enjoying your summer. Looking forward to getting through our agenda here this evening and then settling down for our strategic board retreat in two parts tonight and then on Wednesday. So just looking forward to doing that. I do not believe, well, we don't have a superintendent's report in the agenda. Dr. Freeman, are there any comments you wanted to offer?
No, not at this point. I just want to answer the questions that were presented online.
Very good. As far as committees go, I do not believe we have had any committee meetings since our last regular meeting. I know we have operations scheduled for 2 weeks from today. And the rest of the committees, I think we're going to discuss during the retreat in terms of schedule for ongoing activity, as well as whether or not we want to make any adjustments or changes.
I have governance, and education on the 22nd as well.
Very good.
We got them all?
We're going to just line them up
Do
and
it
knock
all
them
on
down.
the 22nd,
Great. So any questions or comments on the committee meetings? Okay, good. If I'm moving too briskly for anybody, just please stop me. We are now up to item number 4, which is open to the public for agenda items only. I know we have a couple of questions from online.
Which may not be.
Yeah, I don't believe any of them actually are agenda item related. So I believe we're just going to address them during open to the public. Any questions from the room?
So I have placed a few questions online. Melissa Turner, did you receive them? Should I ask them now or?
We did. So there are 2 different parts of the meeting where we take questions from the public. The first part is related to items that are on tonight's agenda
Okay,
for discussion. I think all of your questions are related to not agenda items. So we have a different part of the agenda for that.
no problem.
Awesome. But I'm glad that you're here. Okay. We are up to item number 5, approval of the minutes. Resolved that the Bound Brook Board of Education approves the minutes for the following meetings, regular and executive minutes of July 18th, 2022. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Musson. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Ball?
Yes.
Mr. Dawson?
Yes.
Ms. Lozino?
Yes.
Mr. Minhas?
Yes.
Ms. Musson?
Yes.
Mr. Zupko?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. We're up to item number 6.1, resolved that the superintendent recommends for approval the resolutions as outlined in personnel resolutions under district and high school. This is 6.2 through 6.19. I have a motion.
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Zupko. Discussion?
The resignations, when are we gonna get like, that yearly report on based off all the exit interviews? Is that supposed to be like, by the end of the summer, or it's like?
Yeah, we'll do it at the end of the summer.
Okay.
We're compiling the list now. It's almost done. I think it was 9 positions that we still have to hire. So,
Other questions? Okay, hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bob,
Yes.
Mr. Fazio, Mr. Dawson,
Yes.
Ms. Zeno,
Yes.
Mr. Minhas,
Yes.
Ms. Musson,
Yes.
Mr. Zupko,
Yes.
Mr. Jennings,
Yes.
motion approved.
Thank you. Up to item 7.1, approval of middle and elementary personnel resolutions. Resolved that the superintendent recommends for approval the resolutions as outlined in personnel resolutions under middle and elementary schools. This is 7.2 through 7.11. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Musson. Discussion?
I wanted to make a mention of student teachers and how excited I am about student teachers and how we get more of them into the district and how we can, retain possible full-time teachers from teachers coming out of school. So,
Yeah, and I think generally that has been part of our strategy. We do have a pretty strong relationship, I think with Rutgers specifically, right, Dr.
we actually have a meeting with Rutgers tomorrow.
perfect.
Rutgers this year didn't have any for us.
I thought we had a math teacher or something at the middle school.
We have in the past. We've had many, but
Yes.
I think Ms. Fisher told us this year, Rutgers told us there's not enough candidates.
Okay.
Basically, people are not going into education anymore. Their graduate school for education doesn't have the numbers it used to have.
Okay. I think anything we can do to retain that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
This would be a non-agenda question, but the pilot program that New Jersey is undertaking for like all.
Right. We take alternate from the farm, but like was mentioned, people really are going into education. So that's what they were, right?
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bob,
Yes.
Mr. Dawson,
Yes, however, I need to abstain on 7.5.
Ms. Zeno,
Yes.
Mr. Minhas,
Yes.
Ms. Musson,
Yes.
Mr. Zupko,
Yes.
Mr. Jennings,
Yes,
motion approved.
thank you. We are up to agenda item 8.1, resolve that the Bound Brook Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in financial resolutions. This is 8.2 through 8.19. Have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Discussion? I'll just say that it's encouraging to see that we actually have reasonable bids that we're in a position to accept for 8.8.
Oh, I did want to ask it how they compare to the bids we got previously.
The last round?
Yeah,
It's a good, fair question.
I don't remember those numbers, honestly. Any idea? Any idea on how these bids on the Lafayette project compared to the last round? When they were super high and untenable?
What agenda item?
This is 8.8.
8.8.
8.8.
Yeah, this is the second round of bids we've gone through on this project. If not, I mean,
8.8, yeah.
slightly higher than before.
Something high. Okay,
That's just, the cost of raw material has gone up.
yes,
It's about roughly $200,000.
okay.
And I think the strategy in going back out to bid was that we actually changed the scope and allowed for alternates, correct? That's the difference between the last time and what we're currently voting on.
Dates change between the two.
No, not to my understanding.
Okay,
I didn't think it should.
I actually have a question on 814.
Okay.
I had asked about the funds being reused, and I understand that the amount from the state came back from a budgeted percent of 35 to a budgeted percent of 45. So we had to actually use what sounds like grant money to cover that extra 10%. And I'm curious to see what, you know, what we might want to do to help cover this in the future, or is this something that we can kind of look towards the state? Is they're always going to maybe make this kind of adjustment? As a new board member, I don't know how often these adjustments are made too, so.
so maybe that's a good question for you, Nick. Are the adjustments that we're talking about here routine? Something that happens every year?
This is for the ESSA, the Title I grant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The original budget comes around in June, and then it's an estimated budget, end of the year. You have to estimate your salary, and then the FICA portion. The state decides the reimbursement of FICA and the pension cost. in
okay,
April. So you're always going to transfer the money, or sometimes excess monies are left over. In this case, the rate went up by 10%, so we had to transfer about $1,000.
okay. Is that a normal adjustment that you see from the state?
It happens
or-
every year.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Hearing none, can we do a roll call, please?
Mr. Bob,
Yes,
Mr. Dawson,
Yes.
Ms. Casino,
Yes.
Mr. Minhas,
Yes.
Ms. Musser,
Yes.
Mr. Zuko,
Yes.
Mr. Jennings.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Great. At this point, we're up to new business. Is there anything that any of the members would like to raise at this time? All right. So now we are up to open for the public, to the public for discussion. So Ms. Turner, I'd actually invite you, if you want to come up to the lectern, just sign in.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for holding these meetings. I appreciate it. I'm a mom of a little girl, 7 years in March, and she's going to start Lafayette. So I just have some questions. I have some concerns. The governor, I understand, is there is a new order for a sex education program that's going to start as early as 2nd grade. I'd like to hear about the feedback. Does Boundbrook plan to adopt this? Do you even know what I'm talking about? Some people do or don't. I just want more information. I want to know what we're up against here for my child.
Sure. Dr. Freeman, do you have any
Yes.
suggested comments?
So we have to adopt it. We'll have more information at the next meeting because the curriculum will be adopted at the next meeting. We also will have a presentation where our assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction will explain more. And your question regarding opting out, you will be able to opt out.
Okay. Will the program be an isolated program, or will it be fluid and common discussion place, laissez-faire amongst all teachers? And what I mean is, if I opt my daughter out, I don't want her to be in art class and have the teacher be discussing things that would be naturally adopted, like would be naturally held and saved for that program.
No, it would be taught during health.
Okay. It's a very scary time right
No,
now. I think my
understand
child
this.
deserves the right to be held as innocent as possible and not, it's bad enough if she's influenced through TV media, and I try and protect her from that. So this is, you'll probably see me at more board meetings, so I'm very happy to be here. So I have some other questions. If there's other people, I don't.
Feel free, run through yours.
Okay, so, another question I had, so you'll provide, that's gonna be at the next board meeting, that will be September or the end of August?
2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today. Okay, I'll make sure that I'm here. Thank you. I just wanted to know if there was any discussion in terms of COVID for the upcoming year.
Right now, we're waiting for, and it'll be released in the next week, the guidelines from the CDC. Once those guidelines are released, the state will put ours in place, and we will meet with the county superintendent, go over exactly what the guidelines are, and communication will be sent out to parents tonight.
Okay, so everything, we're pretty much just everybody, we're at a waiting point to
Every
find
year.
out. So depending on what that is, will be then, I guess, dependent on the question is, do you have the opportunity to opt out of the COVID situation, like with the masks? I mean, how the children have been in fairly good health, significantly better in the last several months, right? So I understand we're going into flu season. Will there be mandatory COVID testing? But again, that's probably a question I'll be saving for 2 weeks from now.
Right. The first indication is that the standards are going to be relaxed, okay? And the requirement for testing will not be. If you go on CNN website, they have information regarding the CDC and the fact that they're going to release it in the week, and they kind of give you a snapshot of what they've learned so far.
Okay, that's good. I'll check that out. The COVID vaccines, again, that's probably a question I'll be holding. We'll be here for a little bit next week then, 2 weeks from now. Thank you. And then my last two questions, the free lunches, are we continuing that for the 22-23 year?
The universal free lunch that was, around the country, that ended on June 30th. Okay, so we will go back to, you can get free lunch if you qualify. So the universal free lunch where everybody receives free lunch regardless of income, that ended on June 30th.
Oh, okay.
There is a bill, however, with in the state assembly that they're trying to combat food shortage in families. So they are working on something that will kind of replace that, but it's only in the bill format. It hasn't been passed yet. So that may be something that in the next couple of months you'll hear about that could help with the free lunch situation.
Okay, all right. Thank you. And then lastly, my daughter's part of the workforce aftercare program, and she was over at Lamont last year, and it was wonderful. It was a lovely program. I know it's not directly, you guys don't guide that program, right? You contract with them. So this year she's going to Lafayette, and there's not a high registration for Lafayette students. So what they said is that the Lafayette students would have to walk over to the Lamont Annex.
Yeah.
All right. That's not exactly close. They got little legs, and then it's, the weather gets bad. So when I called them today, they said that they're trying to work on some transportation option to get the children from Lafayette bus over here, but they said when they had asked the school board denied any offering of support to help get transportation. Now, I don't know how true that is. That's
They didn't
just what
call
I'm
me.
repeating.
Yeah.
I wasn't called.
I don't know if the school board's ever discussed that.
Well, I want to advocate and see if we can help look into that, because what happens is if they're going to have to absorb the cost, then so are we as parents, so naturally that was what would happen. So I'm wondering if there are any areas where there could be some budgeted funds to help Lafayette students get over here. I mean, I just think it's, one teacher to X amount of kids, it's raining, you gotta, little legs, they're 6 and 7. I don't think that they should be walking. I know it's not that far of a distance for you or I, but so, okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and
Yep, we got one more?
sure, come on up.
Hi, my name is Othniel Alvarez. I'm a parent of Juan Alvarez. He attends second grade on Lafayette School. And I'm here today and I have a couple of questions. Does Lafayette School have an after-school program the first months of the school year?
It's the same,
That's the word
this
for
is the
it.
same program, yeah. Yeah, so it's not, we don't run the program as a school district, but we have a contracted company that does that for us. And like last year, as Ms. Turner said, there weren't enough enrolled at Lafayette, so they actually did walk over to Lamont and
Yeah, but did they have it like on the first
on
month
the first,
Yes.
of the school
was it
year?
on the first? I don't, my son was in it, I can't
It starts the
remember.
very first
Does it?
day.
I don't remember.
If you go on to, I can provide you the information.
Okay,
but it's
so
a really good
The
program.
reason I'm asking is because my kid came from North Plainfield, which is also Somerset County, and after 2 years of being all on the computer learning, he came to Lafayette, and when he first got enrolled, I got a call, like it was very disturbing. So the call was, somebody told me that, oh, your kid is gonna get in first grade. And I asked him, why? He already did first grade. They were like, oh, because he's too short. And I was like, what does it have to do with it? I mean, isn't that discrimination? And they were like, oh, yeah, but also because his academics doesn't meet the requirements to go to second grade, therefore he's gonna be held on first grade. And then I talked to them to see if I could talk to the principal. I went to the principal, and there was a specialist on reading. And this specialist said to me that my kid was on the beginning of kindergarten level at his reading, and therefore he couldn't go to the second grade. And then the principal, I think she talked to the superintendent office or something, because there was not recommendation for his previous school to be retained. Therefore, they put him on second grade, but they were teaching him things from kindergarten. I know I got it. They were saying they put him in a small group because of his, he need a strong base to go forward. And after when I first got into, excuse me, my English, I'm so nervous right now.
It's okay, you're doing great.
Yeah.
So,
We also-
um,
we also have a translator here if it's easier for you to speak. in Spanish.
No, it's just, I'm so nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Take your
Don't be
time,
nervous.
there's not a lot of people, no,
Okay.
you go ahead.
Okay, so on the first meeting, the specialist told me that, okay, fine, if he's gonna be on second grade, just put him on ESL classes because his English is not that well. And I was like, okay, maybe because I speak English to him in the house, my wife speaks Spanish in the house with him, and he has some other relatives that also speak Spanish to him. Therefore, I thought his English might not be strong enough to be on regular classes. So we put him on the program, ESL program. And then 2 weeks later, I got a call from the teacher saying that he has nothing to do there because his English is good, and therefore he needed to be moved on to regular classes where he probably needed more help at reading, because that's where he needs help. Math, he's doing good, but he needs help at reading. So I talked to the principal again, and we moved him to regular classes. So he received regular classes, but I always got notes, like, little notes on his, when he bring home that he did in school, like great work, awesome work. So I thought everything was fine. Wasn't until February 3rd that I had a meeting with the teachers, and we went there and we were told that he was a candidate for retention. And I asked why I wasn't why they didn't tell me before. So, we could do something, intervene, do something, that could help me succeed to pass the third grade. And they told me that they did it on the qualification cards, the
Report
card
cards.
report, the card report that they sent. But my wife tried to log in the report, and they asked for
Genesis.
Genesis. He
Genesis.
tried to get in Genesis, but it always send them back to North Plainfield. Yeah, she could never get in here, and I know we failed to ask for more help and make sure, how was he doing, but we were okay with all the little cards, all the report, you're doing an awesome job and things like that. I know they might did it to encourage him to keep working hard, but wasn't until that day that we knew that he was a candidate to retention. Then I talked to the principal. I talked to the principal at school, and they intervened. They helped him with an after-school program. They give him a little more help. So after 2 months, we got another meeting, and they're still telling me that he is going to be retained. And I asked to talk to the superintendent. At that time was Dr. Gallagher.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't be there. I think he was busy or something. So his assistant was there, and she told me that we're gonna put him on a summer school program, and if he goes a little bit higher on his reading level, that we were going to discuss the matter after the school program, the summer school is done. So we put him on the summer school, and they tested him again, and they're telling me that he did not make any improvement, like zero improvement. He's at the same spot where he was at the beginning. So I am very concerned because I don't want him to be retained on second grade. He's getting help from a school in Warren called Kumon. We enroll him there. We hire, not hire, but I talked to my niece, and she is okay to help him after school. If Lafayette School doesn't have a problem after school, to help him with reading at house. I read with him, and he reads. To me, he reads okay, but he's my child. Maybe I have 2 lines, of love, but I read with him every day, like 20 to 30 minutes a day, and he's improving really fast. So I was told that at the beginning of the year, his reading skill was beginning of kindergarten. Now they're telling me he's okay on second grade because he's reading his level of reading is on the beginning of second grade. So he basically did 2 years in 1 year, and he got intervened not until February. So all I'm asking for them is to give me some more time. All I need is more time, because I know if he could get more help, and if he could, because I was told, but he's gonna struggle, he's gonna shut down and everything. And it broke my heart the other day when I told him about the possibility that he was going to be retained on second grade. He was crying and saying, why? Because I am dumb or something? So I was, I talked to him that that's not the reason. It's just, things happen. And, but I wanna teach him that sometimes it's not good to prepare the road for them, but prepare them for the road. And there's gonna be struggles in life, but he's gonna be with the little chance, with the little opportunity, he could succeed. I know he can succeed. I believe in him, and I compromise myself, my wife, and everybody to work with him together. Make sure this learning won't be too frustrated for him, but it could be fun, and he could go to third grade and succeed.
Right. Well, and
So in the after school program, first he started to read. So he got little books that he was reading, and then his homework was done in the after school program. So I thought he was doing okay because his math homework was done, his every other homework was done at the after-school program. So I thought therefore maybe he didn't need help for reading anymore. But no, it's just it's not the case. They're still thinking about retaining him in second grade, which I am not agreeing, and I will do anything there is possible to avoid that.
So, a couple of just thoughts, to share with you. First of all, I think we can all empathize. Most of the people that are up here currently have kids that are in district and, have experienced our own challenges. So, what I would say to you is, I think you're doing everything that you need to be doing as a parent, right? You're putting in the extra effort, you're reaching out and obtaining the additional support, you're making sure that your son gets the attention that he needs, right? And I think that as a board, we're all committed to making sure that all the students in districts are successful. And I think our administration is as well. So if you don't already have a meeting scheduled to talk to Dr. Freeman, who's our new superintendent, I encourage you to do that. And come up with a program or, a point of view on how, we can all work together to make your son successful as a student. Right?
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, and thank you.
You're not
Thank
alone.
you.
Thank
You're
you for
not
coming
alone.
and sharing.
You're not
Yeah.
alone as a parent. You're not alone.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Mr. Januzzi, before we go forward, Ms. Turner, I had a quick question. Who did you speak to at the after-school program that said that they contacted the board and the board said there was no?
I left my other notebook at
That's
work. I could email that.
You can bring it on back on the 22nd when you come. You'll be here.
The only reason I bring that up is I'm concerned is that there was, that statement is being made to one of our parents, and that did not occur.
Right.
So I think that once we find out who that individual or entity is, I really think that that needs to be investigated. I don't want to poo-poo that because
Yeah.
it's, I know when my kids were over at Lafayette and Smalley and the Annex, and like you're saying, when they have to walk, and that's an issue unto itself, but
Sure,
I don't like people putting words in our mouths.
Yeah.
And that concerns me.
naturally.
You know what I'm
Naturally.
saying? And nothing against, I think what you're saying is legitimate. I'm concerned about whoever you spoke to. I don't
So
want,
I'm almost positive, I have it written down in my other notebook.
next time when you come
The
in.
person that I did speak to said that I could be in contact with their, CEO or their lead director, or what have you. So I did plan to reach out to the director to get a little bit more of the
That's fine.
backstory
That's
and find out, so, because I'm just as concerned.
Yeah,
You know,
I
I
just
mean-
didn't want,
I don't think it's a fair statement if in
Yeah.
fact that's not the case. But I
Correct.
did say it is my responsibility as a parent to advocate for, for my
As you
child,
should.
which includes
Sure.
advocating for
Right.
their
Yeah.
program busing.
no, I'm just.
Thank you. My
concerned
child
with
made that
this.
walk last year and I really wasn't a fan
I don't like
of
it.
rainy days
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
The nice days, it was a really, they were fine, nice
I
walk,
know,
but
I know Bellbrook's a small town.
I didn't like the
but-
rainy days either.
The only thing I would say, Roger, is I don't know that we have to go too deep on naming names at this point, but what we can do is follow up with the leadership at Middle Earth and just make sure that we're all on the same page in terms of what support they might need and whether or not there's a protocol that they should be using if they need to get in touch.
I hear you, but I also hear that there was a statement made in public saying that something was said that we said. That's not acceptable. If we didn't say it, that needs to be rectified.
Yeah.
That's my humble opinion.
Agreed.
Because I think, yes, I'm not looking to throw a rock in the pond, but in the same turn, I don't want a rock thrown on us. So, and us, I'll take it on to me.
Right.
Because I'm a member of the board, no one ever approached me.
Right.
But I don't find that I don't want to, that's, whether it be a name or an entity, there was a statement made in public that I don't think it's fair to just negate that.
Yeah, well, I think we want the right information to be getting to our parents and not the wrong information. I also think we want a relationship with the community where they feel comfortable. If there's something that they hear that doesn't jive with the board's point of view, that they can come and bring it to our.
No,
So I think it's all positive stuff. I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's some actions to be taken post-meeting
Yeah.
and, we can discuss what those are.
I just want to make sure Ms. Turner's getting the right information.
Yeah, I mean, listen, my plan was to follow up with their director anyway, because if I was talking to just somebody who was answering the phone, I may have not gotten a full
That's fine.
comprehensive story. So my plan was to follow up with the director regardless. To, candidly, like, what's the deal? you
Absolutely.
know, but I just wanted to have some sort of idea of where we were standing, so I can
Correct.
talk with you guys while we were here today. So if in fact that was incorrect information that they gave me, then they'll have to resolute that, and then I can certainly provide that feedback
Correct.
at the next meeting. I just don't want my kid to have to look, that's,
Heard.
Can I just mention that I'm really grateful to you as a family that came out also to speak on behalf of your son and your family. I've been on the board since January. I haven't seen a lot of community at the meetings, and to see you here and to listen to you and to hear what you have to say is very, very valuable, and we take it to heart. And as a board, I think I can say like we are listening and we understand and we want to help. So I just wanted to express that to you.
Thank you.
All right. We are up to executive session.
So
but
we
it-
got stuff online?
Oh, I apologize. We have one more question online.
Yes, we should have
Let me
one.
get-
It's actually a two-part question, I believe.
You got it. All right. So, Dr. Freeman, are you ready?
Okay, Jeff.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Just come on.
You can come on up. You can be next, go
Come
ahead.
on up.
No, you're
No
fine.
worries.
The more, we're happy to have people. It's nice to see people here.
I
Yes.
can see the folks in the back. Hello, everybody. Hi, I need this.
I think you just gotta push the little button, but yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Sweet. Hello, my name is Clifford D. Frazier III, a parent of an incoming kindergartner attending the Annex, I think.
Yes.
So new to the area, relocated in February. So one of the questions I had was already previously answered, it was the whole COVID thing, so thank you. I guess the other one is more so twofold. So is there like a PTA or
There is.
something of that nature? Okay.
In fact, they're looking for officers. I just saw the Facebook post.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
cool.
Looking for more membership.
Because when I did my research, I saw information, but it said mothers, and it was a little misleading. So I didn't know if it was like mothers only.
No.
That's a whole other conversation.
PTO, Parent Teacher Organization.
Right,
That's
right,
us.
but I know a lot of women. But so that was one question, I guess too, and it might, like I said, twofold. What opportunities to get involved, right? So I have a child that's coming in, I'm just trying to be as involved as possible. This is all new, right? It's our firstborn. So that's really, I decided to come here really to kind of get the lay of the land. But I kind of wanted to know
Love it.
what does that look like here, since it seems a little, small.
You mean the small community?
Yeah, but what,
Well, what do you, I guess my question would be, what are you looking for? What kind, are you talking involvement for you or for your child, or both?
well, I guess more so both, but really more so for me to what can I do to be as seen as possible? It's very
Yeah.
important. I want y'all to know who I am, right, and who we are ultimately. But just to get involved, presence, I think is very important.
I feel like our elementary school PTO is very, very strong.
Okay.
And our leadership in that PTO is very, very strong
Yeah.
and very committed to the community. I think all you would have to do is reach out. We can give you contacts to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
just make sure
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would
leave your
agree,
email.
because the information that was online, I didn't
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah, if you sign in there and I don't, there's not a space for email on that page, is there?
So
They're
just add-
involved.
We can reach
from-
out to you, and
Yeah, I mean, they're involved from anything.
they also
from-
have a Facebook, if you're on Facebook.
Yes,
The
they
PTO
have
has
a
a
social
Facebook page.
media presence as well, but they
Okay.
also are involved, I would say, from like a social setting, they do like community events, they also do things at the school, they really support the schools in a huge way. So I would recommend absolutely researching them and seeing if that's something that you might want to get involved in.
Okay, yeah, I would,
PTO is saying.
Yeah,
we'll say it again.
It's on Facebook, it's called Belleville PTO.
Okay, because, yeah, I went to the website, but again, I didn't hear anything back. I did.
They're more active on
Yeah,
social
yeah.
media.
Okay,
and,
okay.
and just setting yourself up as a volunteer with that organization,
Okay.
like you can help out a couple events, kind of get a feel for what you like, what your kids are interested in.
Okay.
I also think our rec division within
And
the
the website.
community is very, very strong, so, sports and, different activities that are held by that.
Oh.
It's not necessarily through the school board, but I'm just gonna do a little shout out to them.
Thank you, I appreciate it. These I can sign
absolutely.
here? or-
Yeah, if you want to put your
provide-
name and email in there, we can get in touch with you, because I'm sure that there are other things that we think of probably
Yeah.
post-meeting. And just, being able to associate a face with a name, know who you are,
Absolutely.
what your interests are. We can keep
Thank
it.
you.
And
I do
thank you
appreciate
for
it.
coming out and
Can
asking.
always run for board of ed.
Yes, and thank you
No,
for
see, I was
having me.
gonna say that. You can always run for the Board of Ed, she said,
Right
if you're
now.
interested. There's another spot up here.
I would like to fill everything out. first.
Maybe next
See what
year.
this is about, maybe next year. But seriously though, thank you all for having us.
Absolutely. And welcome to
Welcome
Bellevue.
to town.
Absolutely.
A little nervous, so my wife was
Yeah, go.
You're fine.
No
like, so here I am.
worries.
But anyways, thank you.
I think it's great that you came out. and-
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
Awesome.
Come back again.
I will- That's the game plan, that's the game plan.
So nice
You'll
to
like,
meet you.
you'll like the teachers I had.
It's so nice to have people.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Did you have any other questions for us at this point?
No other questions, I'm sorry. This is,
Awesome.
I'm
No worries.
left-handed.
It's okay.
No,
Take your time.
yeah.
I just didn't want to be discourteous and move on.
Left-handed.
I appreciate it, thank you.
So we did have a two-part question come in online. The first part of it is it possible to post the school supply list on social media for parents? I think speaking of the PTO, I think that's something the PTO has done in the past. I'm not sure if we've done it on the district website, but now that we're more active on social media, I don't see why we couldn't once we have this available.
I happen to know the reason for this question. They often trickle out pretty late in August, which is fine, except that everything's on sale now. And, if you were to put it out at the end of the previous school year, parents would be, like when they have like the
Yeah.
10-cent folders at Staples, you miss all that by the time
There was,
the lists get out.
And I'm
There
like
was
the
a phone
last minute
call.
shopper where I'm like the week before, I'm like, yeah.
So you get, like, All like white folders and everybody else is stolen all the nice colors.
Nothing fancy.
there was a phone call that went out earlier today about, backpacks and school supplies.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I saw
that's the
that.
free supplies, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah.
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 So for anyone.
At
that didn't know
Lafayette,
that,
was it? Or
that's-
Yeah, but I think what Mike's pointing to is something a little bit different, which is.
Right.
Each grade gives a, supply list.
Specific list.
And we would like, if you
Yeah.
can get it out a little earlier, so parents can take advantage of the sales.
Right, so I think in reference to the question, it's not necessarily the channel for distribution, but the time.
Right, I would agree.
And then the second part of this, which is a little bit longer, also has to do with after-school programs. Boundbrook does a wonderful job at providing additional help through tutorials and summer programs for at-risk students. However, I was curious to see if there is any discussion in providing after-school opportunities for students that are working on grade level and above. As a teacher in a close-by district, I know it can be difficult to meet the needs of all students in daily lessons. It would be great if we could provide all students with enrichment opportunities, since the Gifted and Talented program doesn't begin until third grade. And thank you. So I think that's some reasonable feedback. I will say my own experience in the enrichment programs that we offered last year to some of the students in grade school, I would have liked to have seen that be more pervasive as well. So I think generally speaking, I'm supportive of this idea. I don't know how everybody else feels.
I think in education, I feel like that's the issue everywhere, right? We help the kids who really need the help, and then the other ones often get a little less. And as a board, but I think everywhere as an educational community, I think that's the issue that people struggle with. How do we help, especially the middle?
Yeah.
Right, because there's often especially when you get older, enrichment programs for the really gifted and talented, but the middle kind of gets left behind. I don't think that's unique to Boundbrook. I think that's a systemic issue.
But something we could look at nonetheless.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
read an article months ago, I don't remember where, about the average kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how there's nothing really for just average kid.
Well, and listen, I think especially when you talk about our programs at Smalley School, we've come a long way in terms of extracurricular activities that are available, maybe not necessarily educational programs per se, but things to keep them active and involved. So I think it's just a renewed call to make sure that we're serving all of the members, or all the students in the district, and not just people way on the top of my head.
Right, right. I mean, I would say that in the average kid scenario too is finding out the cause of why it's an average kid, right? Like what is the cause? Like, you know, kids that are highly academic have different strives than the average kid. So like, where do we tap into that need and what are they looking for? What will entice them to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could get into a whole discussion about averages though.
Yeah,
And at some point, average, you know, if we have high performing students, the average is high performing at the
I
same
think
time.
the
Right.
the point of the article was that the average doesn't meet either
Right,
Criteria.
criteria for
Mhm.
either of the programs, so they're just left to
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
go feral.
speak for your own.
Yeah, right.
I basically,
No, it's true though.
but they don't
Right.
meet either.
Right.
Okay. Everybody who wants to make a comment made a comment? Good, everybody's good.
All right, that's great.
All right, we are up to executive session, but given what's on the agenda, I'm not sure that we have anything to adjourn for, is that correct?
I believe that's correct. All right,
Okay, great.
awesome.
So then we are at the end of the agenda. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bowles, second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Musine. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight. Have a great night.
Thank you.